The CEO is the male lead in my story. I wrote my secret crush story into a novel and it became famous. But I felt this overwhelming sense of shame, like I wanted to die. Later, the novel was optioned for publication, but the investor kept criticizing the plot and content. The story you wrote has problems. Is this man blind? The girl's crush is so obvious, yet he can't see it. Didn't he eventually fall for her? Or did she like someone else? Why did he go abroad? I didn't dare argue with the investor. I could only agree. Ah, yes, 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 everything you say is right. But then he suddenly got upset again. Right about what? Is that man blind or did the girl like someone else? We always say money is hard to earn and bosses are hard to please. Finally, I met this difficult investor. Isn't he the exact prototype of the male lead in my novel? The moment my secret crush was exposed, I was going to die of embarrassment. My anonymous account was revealed. Netizens are all Sherlock Holmes now. I've been struggling in showbiz for 2 years with no recognition. Suddenly, my identity as a novelist was exposed. And just like that, I finally became famous. My agency also caught wind of the hot topic and quickly posted an announcement confirming my identity as a novelist. In an instant, my novel and I both climbed to the top of the trending searches. Wow, to Amy is my favorite author? Am I dreaming? No wonder Dada hasn't updated the novel anymore. Turns out she's debuted. Dada is a term of endearment fans use for authors. The author admitted it's a story based on her own experience, so to Amy is the female lead. Who could the male lead be? I heard to Amy is still single. This male lead really doesn't know what's good for him, so my favorite sweet romance novel actually has an unhappy ending in real life. I closed the trending comments, my hands shaking as I looked at my best friend, my agent, Shirley. Shirley, why did the company suddenly post that acknowledgement? I feel a little uneasy. What if he finds out now? Shirley saw my worry and comforted me. Didn't you say he went abroad many years ago? Who knows, maybe he can't even understand Chinese now. She was right. It had been many years and I hadn't heard anything from him. Besides, all those online exposes will just bury him. What's the difference if I admit it or not? She looked at the hot searches, a slight smile playing on her lips. Babe, I checked your fortune. Your financial luck is very good recently. Shirley was right. Just 2 days later, the copyright to my novel was sold for a high price. They also promised to use the best domestic production company for the adaptation, ensuring absolute respect for the original work with no excessive alterations. It was like a pie falling from the sky. Before I could even rejoice, the big boss who bought the rights suddenly spoke up. He said the plot I wrote had problems and that he'd like to discuss the content with me sometime. Although inside I was cursing his ancestors, I still smiled fakely and agreed. What can you do when someone has money? Early in the morning, while I was still catching up on sleep after an all-nighter, I received a call from the big boss. The phone's ringing pulled me out of my sleep. I irritably answered. Did I disturb you? His clear, deep voice echoed in my ear. Half of my morning grumpiness melted away. Oh no, not at all. Even if you did, I wouldn't dare say anything. I stayed up all night yesterday reading your novel. It's quite good. You, sir, have time to read novels. It's simply about paying close attention to every investment. He changed the subject. Miss Tu's work is so busy, yet she still has time to write novels. I wrote that in college. I paused. So, the content is a bit immature. When I first entered university, I always thought of him, dreamed of him. I never had him, but I felt like I'd lost him many times. So, I wrote my secret crush into a novel, giving myself a happy ending. He suddenly chuckled. No wonder the content you wrote has problems. The smile on my face froze. My previous words were merely humility. He didn't realize that after so many years in showbiz, I had absorbed the philosophy that the one who pays is the boss. I no longer felt any anger. May I ask what the problem with the content is, sir? Is this man blind? The girl's secret crush is so obvious, yet he couldn't see it. I wrote it as a secret crush. Was it really that obvious? He continued to nitpick. Didn't he eventually fall for the girl, unless the girl liked someone else? Why did he go abroad? I froze for a moment, then heard him say, Is this man a scum? A scum or Cha-nan character is someone who is bad or unlikable. The male lead is an ideal figure, acknowledged by readers as a white moonlight, a perfect, unattainable first love, and he called him a scum. I took a deep breath and played along. Ah, yes, 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 everything you say is right. Who told him he was the golden master? I wasn't angry. I wouldn't even bother getting angry with him. But he seemed displeased and asked me back, right about what? Is that man blind or did the girl like someone else? This novel is from the female lead's perspective. The male lead has a cold personality and is difficult to move, so at first, it was the female lead's unrequited love. I calmly explained to him, but I couldn't help but retort. He's not blind. You can't call him a scum. He didn't get angry. He continued to ask casually, so, did the girl like someone else? I felt confused. How could the female lead in a novel love someone else when there's no male supporting character like that? Before hanging up, he suddenly asked me a question. Why did the male lead invite the female lead to an ice cream shop after returning to the country? Do you like eating ice cream a lot? It just so happened that I was eating ice cream when I wrote that part. I thought seriously. According to Ethan Quý personality, he wouldn't invite me to an ice cream shop. The content of this section really does seem to have a problem. I pursed my lips. I don't have experience with secret crushes, I just made up this part. The other end of the line was silent for a few seconds. His voice was very light, almost like a soft chuckle. From this perspective, you wrote quite well. What did he mean? Didn't he just criticize my writing? My novel was very popular recently. While netizens were speculating about the true identity of the male lead in my novel, false rumors about me also began to surface. At first, these rumors didn't attract much attention until Luna Bai, who debuted at the same time as me, accidentally liked one of them. The false rumors claimed that a secret crush like mine couldn't have happened to me. The novel I wrote was originally just a compilation and borrowing of ideas from several other romance novels because in high school, I used to flirt with many boysa, sea queen, in other words. Although Luna Bai quickly unliked it, those rumors had already gone viral. Luna Bai and Amy were high school classmates. Her liking this post proves those rumors are true, right? Oh my god, Amy's image has completely collapsed. She's not at all like her outward appearance. Has anyone noticed Luna Bai hasn't interacted much with Amy online lately? Maybe Luna Bai also discovered this Sea Queen's character isn't so good. Luna Bai and I were best friends in high school and debuted almost simultaneously, so our relationship was originally quite good. However, after our debut, I found out she secretly stole my roles in 2 movies, which gradually distanced us. Then Luna Bai reshared my new movie's promotional post. Soon, in the eyes of netizens, I became a manipulative person using her to whitewash my image while she remained a pristine jasmine flower. Shirley turned off the trending comments. I want to swear so badly. Are there still such green tea, scheming, fake innocent people in this world? She suppressed her anger and asked me, you surely didn't ask her to reshare your movie's promotional post, did you? Ever since she stole my roles, I've blocked her. Shirley sighed. What a pity. You should have scolded her a couple of times before blocking her. Oh well, what if she recorded you scolding her? I forced a bitter smile. Anyway, that's not the truth. You'd best find an opportunity to clarify these rumors. They're very bad for your image. If this continues, it will affect your future career. Shirley often said that I hadn't become famous despite my efforts because I was too Buddha-like. Apart from filming, I rarely participated in variety shows. So she helped me accept an invitation to a reality TV show about everyday life. This show featured live online interaction, inviting artists to pick vegetables, cook, and enjoy a slow-paced day in the countryside. Everyone knew that overly ordinary segments wouldn't have high viewership. So, when I arrived at the set, I found out that besides some regular artists, the show had also invited Luna Bai. At that moment, I somewhat regretted agreeing to participate. Luna Bai frequently participated in variety shows, so she quickly blended in with the other guests. I was quiet, my airtime wasn't much, and I just diligently did the tasks assigned by the production team. I was washing freshly picked vegetables in the small kitchen when Luna Bai approached, her tone intimate. Amy, do you need any help? No matter how much I disliked her, I couldn't show annoyance in front of the cameras. So I pointed to the washed vegetables and softly said, then you can sort the vegetables. Luna Bai obediently carried the basin of vegetables to a corner and began sorting them. Her hands were clumsy and awkward. She didn't even know to discard rotten leaves. I couldn't bear to watch and stepped forward to help her sort the leaves. She imitated my method and began sorting the vegetables slowly. The person in charge of cooking was the veteran artist, Chef Wang. He walked over, looked at us, and laughed. One look, and you can tell Amy knows how to cook. As for Manu, I guess she's never stepped foot in a kitchen before, huh? Luna Bai awkwardly stuck out her tongue. When Chef Wang was cutting vegetables, he asked her to hand him spring onions, but she mistakenly grabbed chives. I distinctly remembered she used to know how to cook and could distinguish between spring onions and chives. Was she recently trying to portray herself as a clumsy beauty? In the end, Luna Bai wasn't much help. Chef Wang and I prepared the entire meal. During dinner, Chef Wang praised my cooking skills endlessly and even invited me to become a regular on the show to help him cook. Luna Bai laughed in agreement. I need to learn from Amy. She's so skilled, and she picked many more vegetables in the field than I did. Chef Wang heard this and asked me, Amy, did you used to live in the countryside? I nodded. I grew up with my grandma in the countryside. As soon as I finished speaking, a slight smirk appeared on Luna Bai's lips. Audience comments, didn't the novel say to Amy's family background was very good? Honestly, I can't see it at all. Exactly, she's been wearing the same coat for years, while Luna Bai always wears the latest luxury brands, looking much more elegant. No way, haven't you guys seen the latest expose? In reality, the prototype for the female lead into Amy's novel isn't herself, but Luna Bai. That's right, to Amy's old classmates all said she was a sea queen. How did she suddenly become someone with a secret crush? It's ridiculous. Why did she write this? She's clearly jealous of Luna Bai and wants to become Luna Bai. Oh my god, this is truly disgusting. In a hidden corner, away from the camera, I turned off my phone screen. I looked up. Luna Bai, not far away, gave me a triumphant smile. I suddenly understood. All those agitated comments and defamatory posts about me earlier were arranged by her. I smirked at her. May I ask, when exactly did I offend you? She walked over, placing her hands on the wooden railing of the balcony. Under the distant camera lights, she looked like she was just approaching me to admire the night view together. She smiled, leaned close to my ear, and said in a voice only we could hear, that year, you weren't the only one who liked Ethan Quý. Because my family situation wasn't good then, I was always self-conscious. I never told anyone about it, so seeing you have a secret crush on him always bothered me immensely. People who didn't know thought she was whispering with me like close friends. I said coldly, a fake can never become real. What's the point of you doing all this? Luna Bai laughed smugly. Netizens only believe what they see. No one bothers to dig into the past. Hot news spread rapidly. To Amy's real family background revealed. Trending. The prototype for the female lead into Amy's novel is Luna Bai. Trending. Luna Bai shares her high school secret crush in an interview. Trending. The viewership continued to soar. The highlight of the show was the Truth or Dare segment in the evening. All the artists sat around a dining table with a beer bottle in the middle. The bottle spun a few times and landed on Luna Bai. She chose Truth. A guest quietly received a slip of paper from the production team and asked, Manu, do you have a secret crush? What kind of boy is he? Luna Bai tucked her hair behind her ear, her voice shy. In high school, I had a secret crush on a boy. He seemed cold on the outside but was very warm on the inside. But back then, I was too timid. Even when he went abroad, I never dared to confess. The person she was talking about was the same person as Ethan Quý in my novel. It was bad enough she stole my roles, but now she wanted to compete over a secret crush too? I didn't even need to think. I knew I was definitely being bombarded with criticism on the comment screen right now. The guest glanced at me, then continued to gossip, asking Luna Bai, to Amy's novel has been very popular recently. Have you read it? Luna Bai shook her head, looked at me, smiled, and replied, Amy was too good at hiding her identity before. I only recently found out she used to write novels. My work is too busy. I'll definitely read it when I have free time. I was truly flabbergasted by her ability to lie so smoothly. The beer bottle quickly spun and landed on Luna Bai again. The guest who asked the question smiled. We've asked a lot of truths. Do you dare to call your high school crush and confess your feelings? Luna Bai pursed her lips. He went abroad a long time ago. The phone surely won't connect. If it doesn't connect, then fine, but if it does, you have to confess. Luna Bai awkwardly refused several times but eventually picked up the phone and dialed the number. The other end only made beep-beep sounds, indicating the call couldn't be connected. The number she dialed was non-existent. She seemed relieved. It didn't connect. The game continued. The beer bottle spun a few more times and finally pointed to me. Amy, we all know you also had a secret crush in high school. So you call that boy too, okay? I didn't want to repeat Luna Bai's words, but I also couldn't explain. The number has been saved for a very long time. It's probably not connectable anymore. Didn't Luna Bai just call a moment ago? Everyone immediately started murmuring. You and Luna Bai were high school classmates, right? Are you two crushing on the same person? I smiled awkwardly. How? How could it be such a coincidence? Everyone started cheering. Just try calling. Manu called too. If I continued to refuse, it would clearly reveal my anxiety just as Luna Bai had intended. Anyway, the number didn't exist, so I called. I picked up the phone and dialed the number. Two doo-doo rings came from the other end, making me instantly panic. Isn't this number supposed to be non-existent? The surroundings were silent. The phone connected. Ethan Qui's voice rang out. Hello? I froze. The person sitting next to me gently touched my arm. Regained my composure. I'm to Amy. The show requires me to call an old classmate. Is it a good time to talk? Please say it's not a good time. Ethan Qui's deep, warm voice came through. It's fine. What should I do now? How are you? It's so. I can't believe you still have the same number after all these years. But you changed your number. If this continued, what more could I say? The guest sitting opposite me made a hand gesture, reminding me about the confession. I won't do it. They clearly said I just needed to make a call. My ears burned crimson and I subconsciously stammered. Then I won't bother you anymore. The two words, goodbye, hadn't even left my lips before he interrupted me. To Amy. He called my name clearly, word by word. Haven't you ever wondered why you were able to call me? I was stunned for a moment. He said, I'm back in the country. When you have time, can I invite you for coffee? The heat from my ears spread across my face. I subconsciously replied, okay. Hanging up, everyone looked at me with curious expressions. It took a long time for me to collect myself. The director continued to guide the show according to the game's progression. Fortunately, the beer bottle didn't land on me again, so I didn't have to answer curious questions about my secret crush on Ethan Quý. Otherwise, I would have died of embarrassment. I just secretly prayed that Ethan Quý was still the cold god from back then, indifferent to showbiz rumors. After a night in the humble cottage, filming for the show concluded. The next morning, Shirley came to pick me up. I leaned my head against the car window, feeling utterly drained. Shirley leaned over and showed me a screenshot from last night's show. It was then I noticed that when I called Ethan Quý, Luna Bai's face was very unpleasant. Shirley clicked her tongue. Who would have thought that just one phone call would expose the fake? I looked out the window, watching the scenery pass by, and mumbled, she hired so many internet trolls. They'll probably say that call was intentionally arranged by me to whitewash myself online. Indeed, some people are saying that. Shirley held her phone up to me. But looking at the screenshot from last night, does your reaction to answering the phone look like acting? The phone screen displayed a GIF, clearly showing my ears flushed red, spreading to my cheeks, my face flushed bright red like a ripe peach. My face was that red. If you can act that red, you could win Best Actress. If Ethan Quý saw me like this, I bowed my head, covering my face, mortified. Shirley patted my shoulder. What's there to be embarrassed about? All those shipping fans online are about to die from the sweetness. Didn't your male god invite you for coffee? He was just being polite. If Luna Bai had called him, he probably would have said the same thing. My hands covering my face slowly lowered. Oh, why couldn't Luna Bai connect? Are you sure you both called the same number? I was sitting not far from Luna Bai. It was definitely the same number. Otherwise, I wouldn't have dared to call. Shirley thought for a moment. Well, then it proves your male god is incredibly skilled at detecting green tea types. He must have blocked her number ages ago. I felt a slight headache and rubbed my temples. I've always thought I was quite smart, but whenever it came to Ethan Quý, my mind just turned to mush. Not long after, the company that bought the novel's copyright suddenly contacted me. They asked if I wanted to play the female lead in the TV adaptation of my novel. Since my debut, I had never played a female lead. Although I was the prototype for the female lead in the novel and an actress, my secret crush on Ethan Quý was real. I couldn't treat the male co-star as him. I hesitated for a moment and then declined. However, I did agree to participate in the script adaptation work. I had no experience writing scripts, so the company invited Aunt Jing, a famous scriptwriter in the industry who had written many high-quality hit dramas, to guide me. If I had known the investor was so divine, I wouldn't have charged for the copyright. I arranged to meet Aunt Jing at a lakeside cafe in the suburbs. Sunlight pierced through the clouds, shining down on the deep blue lake, intertwining to form sparkling golden patches of light. I got out of the car and walked towards the cafe. To Amy. A familiar voice echoed from behind. The world suddenly fell silent, only the rustling of leaves in the wind could be heard. I turned around, stunned. Ethan Quý was standing in front of me. He was wearing a white shirt, tall and slender, looking handsome and gentle. The image of the awkward teenage boy in my memory had transformed into a man with a forbidden aura. Under the dazzling summer sun, as he looked down at me, his eyelashes were dyed a golden hue, softening the sharp lines of his face. He seemed to have changed a lot. Ethan Quý smiled faintly. To Amy, long time no see. I realized he seemed to smile more often now. I felt a little bewildered. Long time no see? Why are you here? He nonchalantly looked towards the cafe not far away. Didn't I say I'd invite you for coffee? I have an appointment with someone else. I paused, then asked him, how did you know I'd be there? Ethan Qui's eyes narrowed, forming an arc. To Amy, let me ask you something. Is your impression of me so deep that you don't even recognize my voice? Deep impression? How did he know? Did he realize I had a secret crush on him? My mind suddenly went blank. What do you mean? Ethan Qui chuckled softly. My phone is set so that only numbers saved beforehand can connect. I didn't understand his meaning. It took a long time for my brain to start working again. That day during filming, Luna Bai couldn't call Ethan Qui's number, but I could. It was because he had saved my number beforehand. He and I didn't have much contact. So where did he get my number? Ethan Qui walked ahead, politely opening the cafe door for me. Aunt Jing sat by the window, waving to me. I looked towards her. The next second, the smile on my lips faded. Ethan, Amy, over here. She called Ethan Qui's name. I looked at Ethan Qui with an incredulous expression. You two know each other, he said nonchalantly. She's my aunt. She doesn't usually teach others how to write scripts. No matter how foolish I was, I could guess. You bought the copyright to my novel, and before you called, saying the content I wrote had problems. I suddenly regretted saying too much. For a moment, even the atmosphere became awkward. If I hadn't thought of Aunt Jing being there, I would have definitely turned around and run. Ethan Qui lowered his eyes, looking into mine, and suddenly asked, do you feel very embarrassed? Wasn't that an obvious question? More than embarrassed, I was mortified. He said, then I can pretend not to know. Could even this be pretended? I followed Ethan Qui and sat down opposite Aunt Jing. Aunt Jing narrowed her eyes, looking at us, and asked, you two knew each other before? I pursed my lips, unsure how to answer. Ethan Qui, without changing his expression, said, I bought the copyright to her novel, so of course we know each other. Aunt Jing continued to ask, why did you suddenly think of buying the copyright to a novel for a film adaptation? Ethan Qui tilted his head, glanced at me, because I have someone I know in showbiz. I froze. After he finished speaking, he looked back at Aunt Jing. Aunt, you too can help me, can't you? It turns out he wasn't talking about me. I awkwardly picked up the coffee cup in front of me and drank, quietly listening to their conversation. Why did you rush back? Don't you need to continue your work abroad? Aunt, this time I came back mainly to pursue. Perhaps realizing what he was about to say, I suddenly choked on my coffee, covering my mouth and coughing. Ethan Qui gently patted my back, asking softly, are you okay? I took the warm water he offered and waved my hand. I'm fine. A smile played on Aunt Jing's lips as she raised an eyebrow and asked, pursue what? I abruptly lowered my head, my cheeks burning hot. Ethan Qui calmly said, to pursue a debt. After a moment, he casually looked at me. Aunt Jing's time is precious. You should study carefully. I'll go over there to handle some work. After saying that, he took his laptop to a nearby table. After he left, I felt the air around me become less stifling. Aunt Jing narrowed her eyes, looking at my flushed red ears. I rubbed my burning ears, awkwardly explaining. I choked. She didn't expose me and began guiding me on how to write scripts. Aunt Jing patiently taught me throughout the afternoon. After a simple dinner, Ethan Qui proactively offered to drive me home. The hazy twilight gradually descended, scattered moonlight illuminating the sparkling lake. I took a deep breath, looking at him. Why did you buy the copyright to my novel? He looked down at me, his lips curving. Now I don't need to pretend not to know, do I? I averted my gaze and said softly, you're not stupid, nor are you blind. Why did you have to pretend not to know? The smile on Ethan Qui's lips vanished. His voice was slightly hoarse. At first, I thought you treated me the same as everyone else. Then I found out you liked me, but during that time I didn't cherish you, I'm sorry. I always thought he was very slow when it came to romantic feelings. As long as I didn't say it, he wouldn't know. It turns out he knew I liked him. I remembered the days before Ethan Qui went abroad. He was very distant towards me. Suddenly, a pang of sadness welled up in my heart. I forced a smile. You don't need to apologize. It was all my unrequited will. Ethan Qui looked at me for a moment, then slowly said, Amy, I should apologize. If I had been a little braver back then, it would have been better. After a moment of silence, the night wind gently brushed my cheek. I heard him say, you weren't unrequited back then. The wind in my ears fell silent. I only heard my heart pounding. I bought the copyright to the novel because I liked the story and the ending you wrote. Who would have thought that after many years apart, Ethan Qui would confess his feelings to me upon our first reunion? The last bit of rationality pulled me back to reality. Then I'll write the script well and not disappoint you, boss. He raised an eyebrow. Boss, I pursed my lips, saying nothing, and continued to walk forward with him. He stopped in front of a Bentley by the roadside and opened the car door for me. I sat in the passenger seat. Before closing the door, he smiled and said, "Whatever you like, just do it." Late at night, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. I had thought about Ethan Quý liking me, but it was only within the realm of speculation, written into my novel. If he liked me too, why was he so cold towards me before going abroad? I thought that throughout our lives, we would only be strangers. The more I thought, the more my head hurt. Troubles piled up. I felt like my brain was turning into a love brain. I rolled over and called Shirley. She had lived in Korea for a while and had long since evolved to not need sleep. Loud music and her loud voice came from the other end. What did you say? One meeting and he confessed. Is your male god that straightforward? He seemed to like me before, but he was very cold towards me then. My head hurts so much thinking about it, I can't sleep. If you can't sleep, then don't. Come out for a drink? I jumped out of bed, put on simple makeup, wore a mask, and went out. Shirley knew I didn't like noisy places, so she had chosen a quiet bar. The bar's location was very secluded, deep in a narrow alley. I was afraid of the dark and practically ran to the bar door. When I arrived, Shirley had already ordered me a cocktail. She was slightly tipsy, narrowing her eyes at me. I just figured it out. Why did he tell you he liked you before? It's just flowery words. Otherwise, confessing at the first meeting, wouldn't he seem like a scum? Shirley said with conviction. In short, he's a scum, but I don't see him as a scum at all. That's because you have a love filter on, so of course you can't feel it. She pointed to her nose, slurring. Only we sisters are sober. Was she sober in this state? Never mind. After chatting with Shirley for a while, I felt a little more sober. Thankfully, I almost fell into a trap. We drank and chatted, and my head started to feel dizzy. Suddenly, she asked me, "Hey, do you know what doesn't have a filter?" What? Reality shows, of course. Are you kidding? Reality shows not only have filters but also scripts. I know a dating show where cameras are everywhere, making it very hard to fake. She grabbed my phone and mumbled, "Wait for me to invite your male god first." Before I could react, she had used my face to unlock my phone and dialed Ethan Quý number. The other end quickly connected. "Mr. Quý, I'm to Amy's manager. I wanted to ask if you'd be interested in participating in a dating show with to Amy. It's a live broadcast of the entire process." I instantly sobered up. Did she think I wasn't embarrassed enough today? I snatched the phone from her hand and said to the other end, "I'm so sorry, my friend is drunk. I apologize for disturbing your sleep." Ethan Quý cool voice came through. "I'm still jet-lagged. I haven't slept yet." Outside the window, Shirley's boyfriend waved to us. Shirley slumped onto the table. I patted her shoulder, softly reminding her, "Wake up, your boyfriend is here to pick you up." Suddenly, Ethan Quý asked me, "Do you need me to pick you up?" My memories instantly transported me back to late nights after high school self-study. At that time, to give me more study time, my parents had me stay with my aunt, who was a teacher and could help me with revision, and her house was also close to school. However, every time I went home, I had to pass through a dark alley with only a few dim streetlights. I could barely see the path beneath my feet. Every time I passed through that alley, I was anxious and scared. That day, a small black dog suddenly rushed out, startling me and cornering me against a wall. I hugged my backpack tightly, frantically rummaging through it, my voice trembling as I tried to talk to it. I'll buy you sausages. Don't bite me." The more hurried I was, the less I could find the sausages in my backpack. Just as I was about to burst into tears, Ethan Quý appeared, holding 2 tennis rackets. He looked at the small black dog in front of me and frowned slightly. "You're scared of such a small dog?" I couldn't help but cry. "No matter how small it is, being bitten still hurts." Ethan Quý swung his racket, and the small black dog immediately tucked its tail and ran off. He walked over, knelt down, his gaze directed at my exposed ankle. "You're bleeding. You need to go to the hospital immediately for a rabies vaccine." I wasn't bitten. I looked in his direction, sniffing. It was a classmate in the front row who splattered red ink on my leg. He looked up, his dark eyes meeting my tearful ones. Faint smile appeared in his eyes. Ethan Quý rode his bicycle with me through the small alley. It seemed I wasn't afraid of the dark anymore. "Thank you, Ethan Quý. Do you know me?" From the first day he transferred to school, I had known him. I'm in the next class." I mustered all my courage and said, "My name is to Amy." He looked down at me, his lips curving. At that moment, my heart felt like it would leap out of my throat. I quickly averted my gaze to the tennis racket in his backpack. "Tomorrow, when I go home, I'll also bring a tennis racket. Do you know how to play tennis?" No, I'm bringing it for self-defense. My voice became softer and softer. I'll be a little braver next time. It was so embarrassing to be found out as a coward by him. He gazed intently at the undried tear streaks on my face. I suddenly came to my senses, quickly wiping my face with the tissue in my hand. He said, "Actually, you don't need to force yourself to be brave. I also pass through here every day. You can walk with me." From childhood, my father had always placed very high demands on me. He always told me not to be weak, not to be timid, not to fail. So I always forced myself to do things I didn't like or wasn't good at, just so I could become the person my father wanted me to be. This was the first time someone told me I didn't need to force myself to be brave. Under the dim yellow streetlights, Ethan Qui's figure was tall. My heart suddenly throbbed inexplicably. From that day on, I began to have a secret crush on Ethan Qui. When Ethan Qui arrived, the rain had just stopped. The wet ground reflected sparkling patches of light. He and I maintained a comfortable distance, walking in the small alley. The night wind carried the fresh, damp scent of earth, dispelling some of my tipsiness. He suddenly asked me, "Do you want ice cream?" There was a 24-hour convenience store by the roadside. He led me inside and bought 2 strawberry ice creams, handing one to me. I remembered the plot detail I had written in my novel. Under the bright lights, I saw Ethan Qui's ears were slightly flushed. He said softly, "To Amy, actually, I was always the timid one. Before, I didn't have the courage to tell you, and I didn't dare to show it." My heart pounded, but I tried to remain calm, taking the ice cream and softly thanking him. He gently held me still. "Don't feel pressured. I just wanted you to know." Shirley was right. After 6 years, Ethan Qui was no longer cold but very straightforward. I looked up at him. "So, can I pretend not to know?" He smiled gently. "Okay." Fortunately, my work was very busy, so busy that I didn't have time to think about Ethan Qui. I had countless times thought about whether he might like me too, but those were just my wishful fantasies. It seemed we had missed a step somewhere, then suddenly found ourselves together. In the middle of filming, I received a call from Shirley. "Amy, the defamatory post calling you a sea queen is trending again online. The company posted a clarification, but it's useless." She took a deep breath, suppressing her anger. "I just consulted with a lawyer. Even suing the first accounts that spread the rumors would be difficult to quell public opinion." I rubbed my temples. "Can't we sue Luna Bai? There's no evidence to prove she's the culprit. Send me those posts." "You haven't even seen them yet. Exposing to Amy's true colors is the hottest gossip in showbiz lately." "I know, but why would I want to read posts that are just slandering me?" Shirley quickly forwarded the link to me. The latest post claimed that in high school, I had dated handsome boys from wealthy families, and I would give them all identical sports headbands. I remembered that to thank Ethan Qui for walking me home, I had only ever given a sports headband to him. But then I unexpectedly discovered that quite a few people own the same design. At the end of the post was a card I had sent to someone else. On the yellowed edge of the paper, it read, "I hope you meet many good people, have a bright future, and I hope I'm in your future." I had also written this sentence in my novel. I wrote this card for Ethan Qui, but I didn't have the courage to give it to him. I always thought I had lost it. I never expected it to fall into someone else's hands. No wonder Ethan Qui thought I treated him the same way I treated others. From this perspective, in high school, I really did seem like a sea queen. So, it turns out Luna Bai had been stabbing me in the back ever since then. I called Ethan Qui. He answered quickly. It was a bit noisy on his end. "Where are you? Can I come find you?" His voice deepened. "I'm having dinner with the director and producer. It might not be very convenient." I just took leave from the film crew. My voice was very soft. He was silent for a moment, then said, "Then come over. I'll have the driver pick you up." After arriving, I finally understood why Ethan Qui said it wasn't convenient. This dinner party was a rap party, and the main scriptwriter was Aunt Jing. As I walked to the door, I accidentally ran into her. "Amy, why are you here too?" I pursed my lips, forcing a smile. "Thien En Hien asked me to come celebrate." Thien En Hien was my friend and also the female lead of this film. As soon as I finished speaking, I received a message from Thien En Hien. "Sis, Luna Bai is messing with me too. Her acting is terrible and I couldn't stand it, so I glared at her on set. But she bought articles saying I was bullying her because I'm the female lead. Now she's flirting with the boss's nephew. I can't get involved. I basically can't touch her." Thien En Hien sent me a blurry, candid photo. At a glance, I recognized the person next to Luna Bai was Ethan Qui. I followed Thien En Hien's directions to the second-floor rooftop. Luna Bai stared at Ethan Qui, her voice unconsciously shy. "I heard you returned to the country. I never expected to meet you so soon." Ethan Quý smirked. If it weren't for recent events, I would have forgotten you already. The smile on Luna Bai's lips vanished. What events? Ethan Quý voice became impatient. That postcard, is it in your hands? Luna Bai looked confused. What postcard? Don't pretend to be foolish in front of me. Ethan Quý took a business card from his vest pocket and handed it to her. You'd best return my things quickly, otherwise. He paused for a moment, his voice becoming uncharacteristically cold. I will contact you proactively. Luna Bai clutched the business card in her hand, struggling to speak. To Amy is still the same as she was 6 years ago, completely unchanged, yet you still like her. You clearly know I liked you too. At first, I was just eavesdropping from a hidden corner, but suddenly being mentioned, I felt quite embarrassed. Aunt Jing quickly hugged a surprised Thien Enheen and softly cleared her throat. She whispered, let's go over there and talk about the script for the next film. The content is specifically about dealing with green teas. I took a deep breath, looked up, and happened to meet Ethan Quý gaze. Ethan Quý coldly interrupted Luna Bai. I've thought it through. Whether she likes me or not doesn't affect my liking her. He always knew I was eavesdropping. I slowly turned around and moved a few steps to the side, to where he couldn't see me, then practically ran away. I wasn't running away. As soon as I went downstairs, Aunt Jing pulled me to the buffet table to get food. She put a few shrimp on my plate. I've read your novel, my dear. The emotions are delicate and real. So I don't believe a word of what's been spreading on the hot searches recently. A warmth flowed through my heart. Thank you, Aunt Jing. Perhaps you don't know some things, Aunt Jing whispered in my ear. The biggest reason Ethan Quý went abroad that year was actually because of his father's affair. His mother suffered from depression, and he had to take her abroad for treatment. That's why during that time, Ethan Quý thought I liked both him and someone else, which is why he treated me so coldly. He must really hate unfaithful people, Aunt Jing sighed. Everyone only cared about his mother and overlooked that he was just a pitiful child himself. I didn't realize his feelings back then either. Have you thought of a way to deal with the online rumors yet? You'll probably have to resort to legal action. After all, social media isn't above the law. You could ask Ethan Quý for help. Ethan Quý cool voice came from behind. Help with what? It's about to Amy being slandered online recently. No problem. Ethan Quý curved his lips into a smile. I can go on a show to help you clarify. The reality dating show your agent mentioned isn't bad either. As soon as he finished speaking, Aunt Jing almost choked. The girl just said she was going to use legal means. Ethan Quý looked at me. Or you can leave it to me. The next day on set, Shirley rested her chin on her hand and asked me, do you want to date him? I took out a photo. A few days earlier, while filming, I had passed by a tennis court and saw Ethan Quý there. There were many people on the court, but I saw him first. The sun was dazzling. He was holding a racket with a focused expression, sweat dripping from his forehead. I couldn't resist picking up my phone and secretly taking a picture of him. I zoomed in on the photo. I could vaguely see the toned muscles on his arm. Shirley cleared her throat. Actually, I prefer looking at abs. I pointed to the bracelet on his wrist and said, yesterday, when I looked at the photo, I realized he was wearing the headband I gave him. The headband was old and faded, but he had taken very good care of it. No way, after all this time, he still kept it. Shirley was silent for a moment, then continued, stunned. And you, it's one thing to secretly take his picture, but when you're free, you even use a magnifying glass to examine his photo. You're truly the female lead of a secret crush romance novel? My cheeks burned, and I resolutely admitted, I still like him. Shirley poked my arm. Then go on the dating show, date him openly and clarify those rumors at the same time. The dating show's format was a day-long date. On dating day, the participating celebrities would go on dates like couples. They could choose to eat together, stroll, watch movies, or go to an amusement park. I chose to date by working overtime because recently I had been busy filming and the script portion I had to write was progressing very slowly. Ethan Quý said his house had fast internet and a spacious villa, so he chose that as the date location. There was no host. The production team only briefly introduced us with subtitles. I was an actress, and Ethan Quý was a non-celebrity male guest. The comment section exploded. A commoner? What kind of commoner is this handsome? Does anyone else think his name sounds like the male lead-in to Amy's novel? Long story short, I also think he looks like he's from a novel. So handsome? At Assistant Wang, I need all the information on this man in 2 minutes. Netizens were truly Sherlock Holmes. They understood immediately without explanation. I took my laptop and sat at the dining table, beginning to write the script. Ethan Quý brewed a cup of coffee and brought it to me. I immediately snapped awake, sat up straight, my eyes vigilantly watching him. He looked straight into my eyes, then took a step back. I'm nearsighted, I didn't see anything just now. After saying that, he sat down opposite me, put on his gold-rimmed glasses, and started working on his computer. Viewer comments, he looks even more handsome with glasses now. Here comes the abstinent CEO. Who understands this pain? I finally got a day off and I have to watch other people work. But this scene is truly beautiful. Why was Amy so wary just now? Didn't she want him to see her computer screen? Now she must be writing the adaptation script for the novel. If Ethan Quý is the prototype for the male lead and he saw the content, Amy would die of embarrassment. His voice also sounds like the high school classmate Amy called last time. Amy's reaction suggests Ethan Quý is very likely the male lead. Oh my God, what news am I hearing? Although Ethan Quý and I just sat together, each working on our own things, it didn't affect the live viewership, which surged. Time quickly reached midday. Ethan Quý asked me, "What do you want for lunch?" "Anything is fine." He stood up and went into the kitchen. I also closed my laptop and followed him. "Do you need help?" "No, I'm fine." He rolled up his shirt sleeves to his elbows, took food out of the refrigerator, then began to neatly prepare things. I casually asked, "Do you know how to cook?" I wasn't used to foreign food, so I gradually learned how to cook. He looked up and asked me indifferently, "Do you have any dietary restrictions?" I thought for a moment. I used to have stomach bleeding and couldn't eat overly spicy food. Something light is fine. He continued to ask, "Is it better now? How's your stomach?" Before, a fan sent me a private message with a Chinese herbal remedy for stomach pain. After brewing and drinking it, my stomach felt much better. That's good. A faint smile flickered in Ethan Quý dark eyes, caught by sharp-eyed netizens. Case closed. It was him who sent the remedy to Amy. This secret crush couple, I support them. That remedy, Amy shared it, and I also showed it to my dad. My dad said you can tell right away it's a famous physician's secret formula. Who would just share a secret formula? They're exactly like in the novel. Who spread the rumor that Amy's novel was made up? After eating, Ethan Quý and I again sat in front of our computers to work. Since this was a dating show, would it be too boring if we just sat here without talking? I looked up and met his gaze. I tried to start a conversation. "What have you been busy with lately?" "Handling some cases abroad and preparing to set up a law firm domestically." "A law firm? You're a lawyer?" Ethan Quý nodded and asked back, "What did you think I did?" "Like a rich heir taking over the family business?" I paused for a moment. "Investing, right?" Ethan Quý let out a soft chuckle and calmly said, "Actually, I don't understand anything about investing." "Then you still." I suddenly realized we were still live streaming and fell silent. Viewer comments, "Silence is useless now. We've already found out he bought the copyright. The TV series producer is also him." I also researched Ethan Quý background. It's incredible. He's a big shot in the legal industry. His purpose isn't clear yet. It's obvious. He wants to turn the novel into reality with her. My phone on the table vibrated. Shirley sent me a message. "Rumor has it that the people who spread the false rumors confessed to Luna Bai and her manager. I heard they were taken to the police station this morning." Suddenly, Ethan Quý phone, placed opposite me, rang. He answered. Luna Bai's voice came through the speaker. "Ethan Quý, I've been taken to the police station for questioning." Ethan Quý said coldly, "Then you should call your lawyer, not me." Luna Bai's voice was a little choked as she pleaded, "Please, please don't sue me. I'll return the postcard to you. I can also apologize to Amy. I'm a public figure, I can't go to jail. I just want to know what you did back then." Ethan Quý voice was cold, carrying a hint of warning. "Explain everything, one by one." "I only saw Amy give you a headband, then bought an identical one and used her name to give it to other boys. I also took the postcards she wrote and secretly put them in other people's drawers. I know you recognized her handwriting." Ethan Quý took a deep breath. "Why did you do that?" I didn't want you to like her. I knew your family was going through something back then." Luna Bai's emotions gradually spiraled out of control, her voice almost screaming. "Why does she have everything just by being born? Even you like her. If I hadn't befriended her, would you even have looked at me?" Ethan Quý let out a soft, mocking laugh and hung up. I and all the viewers in front of the screen were stunned because their entire conversation had just been live streamed. The live broadcast room was packed with people gossiping. Comments like, "OMG, plot twist." Luna Bai exposed herself. Luna Bai completely collapsed. "Don't mess with Lawyer Quý," flooded the screen. I was dumbfounded, never expecting the vindication and whitewashing to come so quickly. Ethan Quý looked at me and softly asked, "Want to go for a walk with me?" Ethan Quý led me to the garden. The indoor cameras could only capture our backs. He apologized to me. To Amy, I'm sorry. Back then, my mother suffered from depression because of my father's affair. I hated him so much that I allowed Luna Bai to exploit my weakness, making me misunderstand you and distance myself from you. It's all in the past, I don't blame you. I pursed my lips. On the contrary, now that I know you like me back then, I'm very happy. He let out a soft sigh. At that time, I didn't have the courage to tell you that I liked you too. We missed so many years. It's okay, now I also have courage. I moved closer to him, stood on tiptoe, and gently kissed his lips. He froze, his eyes darkening as he looked directly into mine. My heart pounded and I looked up at him. I've wanted to do this for a long time. After a long while, he regained his composure, his Adam's apple moving as he softly asked me, "Then, can I kiss you?" I gently nodded, then realized there were still cameras inside. I nervously looked behind me, then suddenly my wrist was grabbed by Ethan Quý. Immediately after, my back was pressed against a tree trunk. One arm wrapped around my back, the other gently lifted my chin. The unexpected kiss descended. The damp, rainy weather of the season blended with the scent of wood on his body, entwining and lingering. This kiss lasted a very long time. When Ethan Quý released me, sunlight filtered through the leaves into his eyes. The sparkling rays of light dyed his eyelashes golden, making him look incredibly gentle. His voice was very soft, very sincere. To Amy, I like you, I've always liked you. Viewer comments, why did they go behind the tree? Tell me, what exactly are they doing? I'm dying of curiosity. I have to give a low rating. I'm a member, why can't I see anything? I think I've already guessed the ending of the novel, hee hee. My brain is tingling, I'm about to turn into a love brain.